The year is 1917, and the world stands on a knife's edge. Europe is bleeding, nations are collapsing, and millions of soldiers are trapped in endless trenches. In this world of chaos, one country has the power to shift the future, yet chooses not to move. The United States watches from across the ocean, calm on the surface, while storms tear through the old world. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. In this alternate path, the US never joins World War I, and from that moment, history begins to twist into a darker, unfamiliar shape. At first, the silence from America feels strange, but not alarming. The great armies of Europe continue their brutal struggle as they have since 1914. Trenches fill with cold rain, mud, and fear. Artillery fires through day and night. Soldiers hope for reinforcements that never come. In this timeline, the Allies had counted on American food, American supplies, American money, and eventually American troops. When that hope disappears, cracks form beneath the surface, like a bridge shaken from both ends. Britain feels the pressure first. German submarines roam the Atlantic, striking ships with new confidence. The German High Command senses that the absence of American support opens a narrow path to victory. British ports begin to slow down as food shipments fall. Ration lines grow longer. Kitchens stretch whatever they can. The British government worries that one more hard winter will break the country's spirit. Newspapers carefully avoid the grim truth, but word spreads anyway. Support from across the ocean will not arrive. France enters an even darker crisis. Soldiers who have fought since the early years are exhausted. Supplies run low. Morale collapses in sections of the front. Mutinies that were once isolated now spread wider and faster. Many French soldiers feel trapped, fighting a war without an end in sight. The belief that America would soon send fresh troops is gone. Without that hope, discipline becomes harder to maintain. Officers try to restore order, but the damage runs deep. The French army begins to crumble from within. Away from the front, German leaders study the situation with growing confidence. In our timeline, they feared American involvement and rushed to strike before American troops could reach Europe. But here, with the United States remaining neutral, Germany has room to breathe. It prepares a massive offensive, one final push meant to shatter the Allies before they recover. German factories work day and night, building weapons, shells, and equipment for the attack. Soldiers train with renewed determination, believing that victory is finally within reach. The offensive begins with crushing force. German stormtroopers break through weakened French lines. Town after town falls as exhausted defenders retreat. British forces hurry to reinforce the front, but they are spread thin. Paris faces danger once again. But this time there is no American army waiting in the docks, ready to cross the sea. French resistance slows the German advance, but cannot stop it. Within weeks, German troops reach the outskirts of Paris. Government officials flee south. Streets empty out. The city feels the shadow of defeat closing in. Paris falls. The world watches in shock. Britain realizes it cannot hold the line alone. Its army is brave, but limited. Its food supply is shrinking. Its people are tired. Without France, Britain faces isolation. The government begins secret peace talks, hoping to salvage what it can. The Allies collapse, one piece at a time. By the end of 1918, Germany stands victorious, not through sudden brilliance, but through endurance, timing, and the simple fact that America never intervened. The peace that follows is not gentle. Germany redraws Europe's borders to secure long-term dominance. Belgium becomes a dependent state, heavily controlled. Poland is shaped into a buffer zone with limited independence. France is forced to surrender key territories and pay heavy costs. Its colonies weaken under economic pressure. Britain retreats into survival mode, its empire shaken and vulnerable. The balance of power tilts sharply in Europe's centre, and Germany grows into a continental giant. Across the ocean, the United States thrives during the war years. Factories stay open. Cities expand. Farms grow rich, supplying goods to both sides before the fighting ends. A booming economy gives Americans comfort, but other nations see the prosperity with suspicion. Some leaders in Europe quietly accuse the US of letting them bleed while becoming stronger. A silent bitterness forms, not loud enough to cause conflict immediately, but strong enough to shape future rivalries. Meanwhile, in the East, Russia faces turmoil. The pressures that fueled revolution still exist, but the timing shifts. With Germany victorious earlier, the conflict in Russia takes a different course. Lenin still tries to push his movement forward, but without the same military breakdown surrounding him, he meets stronger resistance. Revolution spreads, but slower. Civil war drags longer. The result becomes unpredictable. Communism may rise or it may fracture early and lose momentum. The Cold War that defined our timeline may never appear. The global tension between democracy and communism might fade before it truly begins. A triumphant German empire becomes the centre of Europe. Its industry expands rapidly. Its military remains strong. Its influence grows across the continent. Smaller nations gather close, either for protection or survival. Some willingly join German economic networks. Others do so under pressure. Democracy faces hard times in this environment. Many governments shift toward authoritarian systems, trying to copy the strength of Germany or hoping to avoid being swallowed by it. Britain struggles through the 1920s. Its economy weakens. Its empire begins to slip. Colonies push for independence earlier than in our timeline. Ireland's fight intensifies. India's movement gains energy. Africa and the Middle East feel the change as British authority fades. France, broken by defeat, faces political chaos at home. Angry groups rise and fall. Economic collapse follows. A proud nation spends years trying to rebuild its identity. As Germany grows stronger, the world enters a quiet, cold standoff. The United States, though peaceful, is now seen as an economic powerhouse that did not share the cost of war. Germany views the US as a distant rival. America sees Germany as a potential threat. Both nations expand their industries and their navies. Both watch the other carefully. Neither trusts the silence between them. Far across the Pacific, Japan observes the New World Order with interest. In our timeline, Japan fought alongside the Allies and gained influence afterward. But in this alternate world, the weakened Allied nations offer little support or recognition. Japan feels overlooked. It expands its military strength. It sharpens its ambitions in Asia. China becomes a key target. The Pacific becomes tense as Japan pushes for dominance and challenges any power that stands in its way. Step by step, the world divides into three major spheres: a strong and confident German Empire in Europe, a rising Japan in Asia, and a wealthy but cautious United States in the Americas. None of them wants open war, but none of them trusts the others. Their growth creates friction, and friction builds heat. Every move is watched, every treaty feels temporary. This uneasy peace stretches across oceans, threatening to break at any moment. Inside Germany, victory changes everything. The humiliation that once fueled extremist movements never happens. The political chaos that would have lifted Adolf Hitler into power never forms. The Nazi Party remains a small fringe group with no real influence. The darkest horrors of the 20th century do not rise, yet the absence of that evil does not guarantee a peaceful world. Instead, a powerful authoritarian empire controls Europe, shaping it in its own strict image. Freedom becomes limited. Opposition is quietly removed. The continent stands under firm, disciplined rule. By the 1930s, tensions between Germany and the United States deepen. Their industries compete for global markets. Their navies grow larger. Their diplomats trade cold statements. The Atlantic Ocean becomes a silent border between two giants waiting for the next move. A spark could appear anywhere. A naval clash in the Atlantic, a power struggle in South America, or a crisis involving Mexico. Each event holds the potential to pull two superpowers into a conflict far larger than the First World War. Asia grows even more dangerous as Japan expands its reach. With European influence weakened, Japan takes advantage of the vacuum. Islands, coastlines, and trade routes become pieces in a growing contest. The Pacific transforms into a chessboard where each move increases the risk of a new global war. A war that might involve Japan, Germany, the United States, or all three at once. In this alternate timeline, the world escapes one kind of disaster but walks straight toward another. The lack of American involvement in World War I removes one tragedy and replaces it with a long era of cold rivalries, struggling democracies, rising empires, and a constant sense of instability. The world becomes a place where nothing is certain, where peace is fragile, and where every major power prepares for the day when the silence finally breaks. This is the world shaped by a single decision in 1917. A world where the United States never enters the war, and the entire century shifts onto a different, darker track. And as the decades unfold, every nation learns the same lesson. When one moment changes, the future changes with it, step by step, until the familiar world is gone.